warm welcome to the news at 10 on NTA News 24. We're live in Abuja, Nigeria. I'm Comfort. I'm Modu. Thanks for joining us. Nigerian Center for Disease Control confirms first case of Omicron COVID-19 variant in Nigeria. President Buhari re-emphasizes zero tolerance for corruption. Senate to engage Interior Minister and Attorney General's office over review of Nigerian's correctional system. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control has confirmed 3 new cases of Omicron variant in Nigeria, and the cases, it says, are linked to passengers from South Africa. A statement by the NCDC Director General Dr. Ifedayo Adetifa explains that the cases were discovered through the genomic sequencing of samples from the routine travel test required for all international travelers, carried out at the NCDC Reference Laboratory in Abuja. And in view of the highly likely increased transmittable Omicron variant, the NCDC recommends that states encourage the use of approved antigen-based rapid diagnostic tests for rapid testing of the population in public settings. Omicron variant, a new strain of the COVID-19, was detected in Botswana and reported by South Africa. This prompted some countries to impose travel ban on South African countries. Meanwhile, Canada has extended travel ban to Nigeria after it reported the discovery of 2 cases of the Omicron variant from 2 passengers from Nigeria. And joining in the studio to speak on the detection of Omicron COVID-19 variant in Nigeria is public health specialist Dr. Isaac Abuja. Dr. Abuja, you're welcome to the studio.
You're welcome. Good morning.
All right. It's confirmed that the Omicron variant of COVID-19 has been confirmed in Nigeria. In any case, is there any cause for alarm?
Certainly, there should be, and there is, because the fact that we started with COVID-19, and then we had a variant, the Delta, and now we have the Omicron, technical name of which is B11529, and which seems to be totally different from the previous 2, is a cause for us to worry, and we should.
Okay, so in this case, what measures should concerned authorities put in place?
Well, the measures are not basically different from what we are used to as the protocols established. We should still be using the non-pharmaceutical measures of preventing the virus, which are washing our hands frequently, wearing our face masks, especially when we're in public, social distancing, making sure that whenever there are a few people gathered, the place is well ventilated. And of course, the most important now is that make sure that you get vaccinated, that everybody is vaccinated.
Okay, because of this discovery, a whole lot of countries are either preventing airlines from coming in or restricting them to specific hours. Do you think that Nigeria should do any of sort? Certainly.
There will be a time when Nigeria may need to. I say may because it might not escalate to that point. It might. If the situation becomes necessary, Nigeria will do whatever is necessary to protect its citizens and also to protect other citizens of other countries from being infected.
So should those that have been vaccinated have any cause for worry, seeing that a new variant has been discovered?
Yes and no. The yes is that the fact that you are vaccinated doesn't mean that you have 100% immunity. The no is the fact that you need to be vaccinated. And that even if this variant is different from the previous two that we know, it also will be, the vaccine will also prevent its transmission, its infection, and therefore you'll be protected. And therefore you need to be vaccinated.
Okay, finally, before I let you go, what's your perception about the enforcement that commenced today, 1st of December?
I think it is unfortunate that the government has to force us to protect ourselves. We don't need to be forced. If we were to comply voluntarily, the government would not need to embark on rules and regulations like this one that is going to be enforced starting from today. But there is a need to do it, because even if you don't want to protect yourself, you need to protect others around you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Isaac Abuja, for your insight there. And still on the COVID-19 status, we're joining Oluseyi Adeagbo to get a situation report on the enforcement. Sheye, if you can hear me, what are you seeing out there in offices with regards to the enforcement? Are people complying? To be having a challenge with Oluseyi there. We will reconnect much later at the course of the news. Our Nigerian Center for Disease Control has confirmed 105 new cases of COVID-19 in some states of the Federation, and currently Lagos has 43 new cases, Gombe 21, the FCT 16, Niger 10, Rivers 6, Plateau 5, and Edo has 2, while Bauchi and Kano states recorded a single case. With this addition, Nigeria now has 214,218 confirmed cases of COVID-19, out of which 207,304 were treated and discharged, while 2,977 died of the virus. Away from that, President Muhammadu Buhari says Nigeria will continue to support ECOWAS Parliament to make laws to address all factors impeding security, peace, democracy, and sustainable economic development in West Africa. At the opening of the 2021 second ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament, President Buhari reaffirmed his commitment to regional integration and good governance in ECOWAS. Let's get details from Onengi Fineface.
ECOWAS Parliament 2021 second ordinary session holds in line with Article 17.2a of the Supplementary Act for Parliament to consider the ECOWAS community budget towards addressing the needs of the people. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari, in a message, tasked members of Parliament to be thorough in revising the previous budget performance and making fiscal provisions to address critical regional concerns and targets in the new budget.
2021 second ordinary session is crucial to the realization of the institution's objectives by creating the opportunity for the intervention of parliamentarians. These interventions are citizen-driven, given the place of parliamentarians in governance arrangements.
We need to sustain coordination and to work in synergy in order to succeed in bringing about an ECOWAS of the people as we march towards Vision 2050.
The budget is also expected to advance progress in democracy, rule of law, peace, conflict resolution, fight against terrorism and other forms of insecurity, poverty, climate change, and the COVID-19 crisis.
We must leave our comfort zone and go to the people, remembering that we are only servants and nothing more. Furthermore, putting an end to violence and threats to our rising democracies should be our greatest priority. For only in peace and unity that we can plan and actualize national and regional development.
Referrals from the ECOWAS Commission will also be considered during this ordinary session, alongside parliamentary workshops, country and committee reports on a wide range of issues. In Abuja, Onengi Fineface, NTA News.
Any government official found undermining government projections, escalating the cost of governance, and denying Nigerian value for money through project duplication and the budget will be sanctioned. Severe punishment also awaits those conducting illegal recruitment, padding their personnel payroll and retaining ghost workers in the service. President Muhammadu Buhari read the Riot Act at the 3rd National Summit on Diminishing Corruption in the Public Sector. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has details.
The summit, put together by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation in collaboration with the ICPC, had as its theme corruption and cost of governance, new imperative for fiscal transparency. Several infractions, including illegal recruitment and duplication of projects in the budget, have been identified as major push factors on high cost of governance and rising personnel budget.
ICPC review of the 2021 budget found that 257 projects amounting to 20.138 billion were duplicated.
If we do not fight corruption and kill it, like the president would always say, corruption will kill our country.
President Muhammadu Buhari said with the COVID-19 pandemic creating a strain on the nation's resources, government has no alternative than to look critically at the cost of governance.
We cannot ignore critical investment in infrastructure and other investments that will enhance growth, development, and security. Government has, however, noted that some MDAs have devised the fraudulent practice of presenting new projects as ongoing projects. Necessary action and sanctions will continue against the heads of such errant MDAs.
President Buhari also expressed serious concern over the creation of many departments and agencies over the years, thereby duplicating roles and bureaucracy in governance.
Reforms are needed, but every reform has inherent costs and pains. Government will strike a balance to maintain social equilibrium, mitigate the pains of reforms, and at the same time reduce the cost of governance. Nonetheless, those who illegally bring in personnel into the public workforce by illegal recruitment, those who pad their personal payroll, those who retain ghost workers must be and will be severely punished.
The president said Nigeria's immense potential have been handicapped by corruption and imbalanced economy as well as insecurity, which the federal government is committed to finding lasting solutions. Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed delivered a keynote address at the event, while the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, and Senate President Ahmed Lawan, represented in their messages of goodwill, pledged the support of the judiciary and the legislature, respectively, to the government's genuine efforts at eliminating corruption and corrupt tendencies in Nigeria's national life for a prosperous future.
If possible, special courts and expedited trials can be introduced or adopted for corrupt cases.
It is my fervent belief that if all of us work in harmony with one voice, corruption and allied cases will certainly be on their way out.
The National Assembly remains committed to the aspiration of a corrupt-free and indefensible Nigeria.
Major highlight of the ceremony was the presentation of the 2021 Public Service Integrity Awards to 3 deserving Nigerians. They are Muhammad Tukur Ahmad of the NDLEA, Nelson Oji Okoronko of the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, and Ikenna Steve Nweke, a PhD student in Japan who found a wallet containing large sums of money, submitted it to the Japanese police, and declined a 10% reward offered in return. President Buhari described him as an icon and indeed a beacon of the nation's youth. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday expressed solidarity with Nigerian women as they observe 16 days of activism against gender-based violence against women and girls from November 25th to December 10th, 2021. The president spoke when he received in audience the Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Talon, in State House. Abuja. According to the president, women are the bedrock of the society and are largely responsible for stabilizing the home front. The president expressed confidence in the capability of Nigerian women, urging them to remain steadfast as exemplified by the key positions they occupy in the present administration. And the president assured women that he will always be there for them whenever the need arises. The minister had briefed President Buhari on various enlightenment activities of her ministry towards the international campaign, and she further explained that the 16-day activism with the theme Orange the World End Violence Against Women Now, which started Thursday, November 25th, is International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women, adding that the program will continue until Friday, December the 10th, the World Human Rights Day. First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, has also joined female members of her staff on the campaign on the elimination of violence against women and girls as part of 16 days activism against gender-based violence. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports.
Gender-based violence is the violation of rights of women and girls involving rape and all forms of sexual harassment. To end the menace, the United Nations has set aside 25th November to 10th December annually as 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. To this end, the First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, joined her members of staff to commemorate the campaign.
Gender-based violence is a gross violation of women and girls' fundamental human rights.
1 in 5 girls are survivors of female genital mutilation. All women and girls must have access to reproductive health services.
The First Lady emphasized on the need for all critical stakeholders to join hands for the elimination of violence against women.
I called on government, religious, and community leaders to adopt the culture of zero gender-based violence and harmful practices.
Aisha Buhari also urged victims to always speak out for help to ensure justice and to end the menace.
Say no to gender-based violence.
From the State House, Aliyu Kabir, NTA News.
Sure, say no to gender-based violence. News at 10 is broadcast live on NTA News 24 Abuja. We'll take a short break and more reports when we return. Now to the National Assembly. The Senate is to engage the Minister of Interior and Attorney General of the Federation on the need to review Nigerian's correctional system, especially as regards to jailbreak, which has continued for some time now. This came to the fore when the legislators condemned the Jos Medium Correctional Center jailbreak and called for reinforcement of physical protection at the correctional centers. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
The motion on the jailbreak at the Jos Medium Correctional Center and the attacks in Basa and Jos East local government area of Plateau State was the only motion of urgent public importance. Senator Estefanus Gyang moved the motion, which highlighted the various damages and lives lost from the attacks. The legislators canvassed the establishment of a special correctional center for condemned and high-profile criminals.
The invaders walked through a security zone and broke through to have over 200 inmates escape from the center.
This call for our urgent intervention in terms of providing more personnel.
About 60% of them were prison systems that were established during the colonial era.
Senate mandated its Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters to engage the Federal Ministry of Justice on the issue of delay in the prosecution of perpetrators of violence against women. This followed the motion by the chairman, Senate Committee on Women Affairs, on the 2021 International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women.
With a view of setting up special courts to handle the issues of gender-based violence.
And also reminding us about the advancement we've also made as a National Assembly, especially with respect to the domestication of the VAP Act and also the Child Rights Act.
The Nigerian Independent Warehouse Regulatory Agency Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Suleiman Sadiq Omar, the Federal College of Agriculture Abuja Odua River State Establishment Bill by Senator Betty Apiafi, and the Federal Unity Colleges Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Bima Inagi, passed second reading.
Warehouse receipts will provide an important addition to negotiable instruments in our country's financial sector.
To act as agent and catalyst of effective agricultural system through postgraduate training.
Breed the tribalized citizens needed for the good management of resources at all levels of governance.
Senate harped on the need for government to prioritize sustainable youth development programs as it passed the Nursing and Midwifery Act Amendment Bill and the National Maternal and Perinatal Death Surveillance Bill 2021. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And Lami Ali reports that the House of Representatives has commenced holistic amendment of the Nigerian Customs Service Management Act in view of its significance to the country's fiscal and national policy development. The bill seeks more revenue generation to fund critical projects for economic development.
The proposed amendments to the Nigeria Customs Service Management Act, as highlighted by the sponsor of the bill, Representative Leke Abejide, is to reposition the service in terms of capacity to generate more revenue, provision of logistics, implementation of the section of Finance Act that deals with collection of levies on carbonated drinks, and provision of legislative input in the appointments of the Controller General, as is the case with the service chiefs. The bill passed second reading with 4 others. House members adopted a motion from Representative Dachum Bagos urging authorities to scale up strategies to prevent emergence and spread of COVID-19 variants like Omicron.
It has become very, very necessary for Nigeria to activate response, to look into the issue of Omicron, which is a new variant that is very deadly.
Also adopted was the motion from the Minority Leader Ndudi Elumelu, calling for the restoration of electricity supply in parts of Delta State that have been without light for close to 20 years.
As a result of the dilapidation of 33 kVA line, the electricity supply was cut off in Enua and Iklan and other communities nearby, thereby leaving the entire community in perpetual darkness.
The House has passed a resolution urging the federal government to deploy adequate security to parts of Niger State to protect lives and national assets from bandits, as moved by Jafar Mohammed, just as it urged the extension of the Lagos-Kano standard gauge rail line to parts of Oyo State, as raised by Moraino Ajibola.
The Sanusi Railway Station in Oyo State, which serves as a gateway between the northwest and the southwest of Nigeria, holds enormous agricultural potentials for the country.
Plenary featured first reading of 13 bills from the National Assembly. Lami Ali, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has begun consultations ahead of Nigerians hosting of the United Nations World Tourism Organization UNWTO CAF regional meeting next year. Anthony Forsen reports.
Information and Culture Minister, who was received on arrival in Madrid by the Nigerian ambassador to Spain, Ademola Seriki, engaged the UNWTO Secretary General Zura Pololikashvili on a tentative date for the event, programs to be lined up, as well as involvement of UNWTO and Nigeria, the host country.
Worked around a date which will be suitable for all the parties, and tentatively we are looking at sometimes in November 2022. And we chose November because we also want, as a major side event of that conference, the commissioning of the renovated National Theatre in Lagos. So what we have in mind is we have the main conference in Abuja and then a side event in Lagos. And we hope that we'll be able to persuade Mr. President to be at the commissioning of the National Theatre to coincide, which will coincide with the, with the CAF meeting in Nigeria.
For the Secretary General of the United Nations World Tourism Organization, he has every confidence in Nigeria, having done so before.
We are going to make quite big and first ever, very interesting and very important conference in Lagos next year, because our strategies and we are focused a lot to make Africa more trendy, more visible, especially in culture terms. Unfortunately, from our point of view, African gastronomy and culture, it's not represented as well as it deserved. So, with His Excellency Minister, we will be more than happy to promote and to help African youth, African representatives from the culture industry and tourism, of course, again, and to support them worldwide.
The Nigerian ambassador to Spain, on his part, said the hosting right awarded Nigeria is a demonstration of Nigeria's capacity and strength on the global scene.
We stand to benefit a lot. The Honorable Minister being here and has given a reassurance to a better and an improved relations between Nigeria and UNWTO. The United Nations World Tourism Organization ought to be a global body, not to exclude Africa, but Nigeria is playing a very, very key role and pivotal role indeed. And what we're looking at for them to come to Nigeria for a conference next year, we will consolidate everything by January. And with that, we can be rest assured that Nigeria will play key stance.
With a tentative date not fixed and theme not agreed on, Lai Mohammed expressed confidence that his trip to Madrid, Spain will resolve the issues. In Madrid, Spain, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
You're watching the news at 10 live on NTA News 24. More reports shortly.
Advertising your goods and services on the right channel gives you NTA. You can't beat the reach.
We want to talk about rights, there are obligations. I'm not saying that this government is a saint, it's very far from it. But there are things that we can do to make it better, and that's the challenge I'm throwing to you. You don't want to build this nation? I don't know where else you want to go. If I had a choice, I'll come back. When I stand outside and I hear what you have to say about this country that I know that I can die for as one, then I'm really sad because you're young. You have education. You have tools. You have a huge future ahead of you. And you're condemning yourself before you started on that journey. So please don't do that. Please don't.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Visual Impressions on NTA. I am Umar Mohammed. Now today on the program we'll be looking at art from a different perspective. The versatile nature of art has led some curious artists to exploring various places in respect to displaying their artworks. While they were at it on the streets of Abuja, Visual spoke to some of them, who in return explained that they were on the streets because the only place they could afford to rent shops was demolished. Now, the thing is, why were they dislodged and deprived of their only means of sustenance? These were all the questions put together for the Director General of the National Council of Arts and Culture, Otumba Olusegun Runshewe, to answer. And he did. He gave us details into all that transpired in the arts and craft market, which over the years turned out into a luxury lodge for criminals. Let's find out. Human relationship with nature is perhaps the first subject to appear in the history of art. Artists always find inspiration in their respective environment. We met Peter Abo, a street artist who is also known to be a rock artist. He resides in Asokoro, Abuja, Nigeria, and Sonam Yilkes, who also displays his works on the streets of Area 8, Abuja. They individually found a way to interweave their artistic expressions and their natural environment.
To me, it is in me because it's natural. That's what I see. Because I discover it is in me, I put more passion into it. Every time what I see, I try to depict it, try to put it in my mind. Even though I didn't sketch it at that time, I'll go back and take my time to imagine it, try to put it in my sketch parts.
I still believe that be touched by God. Already when you look at this environment, I'm on the roadside. It's just like somebody who made an exhibition publicly. It's just like a public exhibition, like every day. I'm always here. So all that once I consider it as an exhibition. But when you talk of solo exhibition where you invite dignitaries, companies here and there to a particular event, I have not really had that opportunity, of which I'm looking on to. One day, a destiny helper will find its way to my way, and I will be glad. And I believe so. It will happen one day.
Street art, the form of artwork that is displayed in public buildings, trains, and other publicly viewed surfaces, and it is said to be one of the most hybrid forms of artistic expressions in our modern world.
The appreciation of arts is coming gradually because people are now understanding that art is in us, is what we are. So, but before they think art is for the rich, but to me, art is everybody can afford it. That is why they find it difficult to appreciate it. Even though they like it, they won't try to come and price itself. It's very difficult.
Let's say the society is a little bit, not encouraging business these days. Everything seems stagnant. Business is not moving as usual. And you find yourself being, frustrated, thinking of something else to do. Most of the time I'm here, maybe some good time, nothing will happen. But that will not step me back because I know one of these days, something better will cover up the notes you have not gotten anything. So there are some advantage and disadvantage. People will look at you, this one, what's he doing there? Is that what he want to do all the rest of his life? They look down on you as if you are just like nobody, just because of the environment. And when they see you outside well dressed, this man is made. But when they see you in a kind of road like that, they kind of making you to look down on yourself. But one good thing is that whether the rain, whether the sunshine, don't give up.
The issue of them being on the streets, first and foremost, like we want to discuss, like what exactly is involved in a painting, for instance, that is done